Guys, I'm back for another video, and today I'm going to be talking about life after addiction / recovery. I made an addiction video, and I explained in that video a little bit about my story, what I was addicted to, and things like that. I am coming up on my first 1 year off of opiates. I have never made it to a year before. The longest I ever made it was a week. Hey, you know what? I tried. I can't tell you what an amazing feeling it is to have reached 1 year without any relapses, without any anything. Like, I did it. I've done it, And when I get up there and I get my 1 year chip at Celebrate Recovery, I'm going to probably stand there and bawl like a baby. And I'm going to probably have mascara running down my face. Because I just am so emotional about this, because I went through so much shit in the last 4 years of being addicted to these pills. They took me over, and they took me over hard. And I thought the only way out was suicide. I thought the only way I could ever get sober was to kill myself. And the fact that I have done it, it astounds me. Like, I can't believe how much strength I have. And it takes so much strength to do this. It does. Because, you might get motivated and you try to get sober. And I have done this so many times. Like, this is my 8th time trying to get clean, and I've made it this far, and that makes me know that I'm 100% ready for sobriety, because I have made it this far. And all the times before, I'd made it like a day, 3 days, a week, but what I was going to say is, I think that, we start getting so motivated to get sober, and then that motivation slowly fades, and then reality sets in, and life sets in, and you start thinking, oh shit, I need my drugs. And that motivation goes right out the window. So it takes a lot of strength to stay clean. And I'm serious that anybody out there, if you're going through this, or if you have kicked this addiction, kudos to you. And if you're going through this, you know what? Hang in there and do whatever you can to try to get clean. Like I said, you gotta be ready, and you cannot. And unfortunately, as selfish as this sounds, you cannot get sober for your children, for your husband, for your wife, for your parents, anybody. You have to do it for you. And that's the only way it's going to work. Because if you're not mentally and emotionally ready to take on life without your crutch, you're going to fall flat on your fucking face. Keeping it real, you will. And I did. I fell on my face a lot. But I just kept getting back up. And you need to do the same. Just keep getting back up. I know how hard it is. You guys, it fucking sucks. And the shitty thing about addiction is it's always with you. And it will never leave. Just because I've made it a whole year sober, that doesn't mean that, I'm going to make it another year sober. I would like to go for that, but I ain't thinking about a year from now. I'm thinking about tomorrow. And I'm thinking about right now, actually. Not even tomorrow, right now. Because when you are an addict, you can't look ahead and think, oh, I could be sober for like 10 years. You got to think about, nah, I'm going to be sober for 10 minutes. You got to take it slow. Take it slow and take it easy. Because you get ahead of yourself, you're going to take 10 steps back. And you don't want to do that, You don't want to go back to that shit. When the day that I got clean, or actually it was 2 days, I was 2 days sober, and I was driving down the street, and I passed a church, and I saw some signs outside that said Celebrate Recovery. And I knew what that was because my mother was a drug addict my whole life. So I knew all about Celebrate Recovery and Narcotics Anonymous. So I knew about all that. So I went on in, and I thought, what the hell? I couldn't get into any inpatient. I had no insurance. I had no money really for inpatient. So I had to just deal with outpatient. And I felt like it wasn't enough for me, but I had to take what I could get, and I had to be strong, you know. And so it sucked. Like, I didn't think I was going to make it because I had no help through my sobriety, and you know, I didn't know the steps to take. I really didn't. Like my mom, you know, she used my whole life, but she never stayed sober, so I didn't know what I was doing at all. So I went to the meeting, I sat down, and I listened to somebody talk about how they had been an alcoholic for years and years, and that now they had been 10 years sober, and I was like, holy shit and balls, like, how did you do that? I was like, I can't do that. There's no way I'm going to be able to do it. I was like, I better get up out of here right now. This is not the place for me. But you know what? I was like, nah, this is a place for me, because these motherfuckers are just like me. You know, we're all a bunch of fucking addicts, and that's what this place is for. So I stayed, and, you know, after the big groups, they had little groups, and I spoke the first night I was there, and I cried like a baby, and I stayed, and I kept going, and I still go to this day, and I have met like the most wonderful people through Celebrate Recovery. And I try to go to Narcotics Anonymous, but I do like Celebrate Recovery a little more, just because it's more in depth about things, and I don't know, I guess met a little more people through there. I guess I went there a little more. It just kind of clicked with me. And I started kind of telling my story, and I got a lot of support from the women. And they're like, you know, keep coming back. It works if you work it, and the Lord will get you through this. And I was just like, whatever, like, okay. I felt like that on the outside, but on the inside, I was like, listen to these people. They've been there. And, you know, this is what you need. You need support. And you need to know that there's people that are just like you, and they know what you're going through. And you're not the only one that's an addict. And you're not the only one that's had problems. So you can relate to these people. So I kept going, and I got my 1 month chip finally. And I felt like that was like the biggest accomplishment in my life because it was like, I was so happy that I made it to a year, or sorry, I'm thinking about now, you see, I made it to a month. I was just so proud of myself. And then I made it to 3 months, or what was it, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and then six months, and then my 9 months, and now I'm getting a year. So I got my 9 months a few months ago. I'm sorry, my hair is just like, ugh! I play with it way too much. I'm so sorry, it's annoying, and I'm going to stop right now. What the fuck was I? Oh, yeah. Now I'm getting my 1 year, and it's amazing. I'm just so proud of myself. I'm so happy that I made it, and like I said, I'm going to cry like a little baby. Just like the first day I walked up in there, I'm going to cry the same way. You know, and the nice thing about this is I feel like I'm starting to give back. You know, I want to start getting into leadership groups where you go and you speak to high school kids or junior high kids about the effects of drugs and what it can do to you and what it can lead to. And, you know, fuck, when I was in school, I hated when people came up in the classroom. I was like, shut the fuck up. Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. I'm gonna go get high right after I leave school. But there's some kids that actually do listen. And, you know, I want to be an advocate for these kids. You know, there's so much pressure and so much that we go through in this day and age as teenagers that they need a voice. They need somebody from experience. And I'm still young and hip. Hey! So, you know, I would hope that I could help these kids not make the same mistakes I've made. Because these kids are our future. And we need to try to do everything we can to make sure that they turn out decent people. Because they're the people that are going to be running our future. And drugs... yeah, bye-bye, world. That's not going to be a good thing. We don't want that. Especially in this small town that I live in. You know, there's just too much shit goes on, and I don't want to see anybody lose their life to drugs. I don't. I've seen it too much, and I just don't. My girlfriend that passed away, she overdosed on pills, and I think about her often. I mean, me and her weren't like buddy towards the end of her life and stuff like that, but we had the same common ground. She was an addict, I was an addict. She was a mother, I'm a mother. I had known her for years, and she's gone, all because of addiction. Whew, sorry. And I think that she would want me to be a voice. I would hope so. And, I feel like she would be proud that I finally got sober. And I stayed sober, and I don't ever want to go back to that life. Like, I want to give my little girl the best life in the world. Because I grew up like that. And I don't ever want my little girl to go through what I went through. Because a lot of my problem was my childhood. Yeah, I didn't know how to become an adult and a mother. I felt like the only way I could be a sane person is if I used drugs. And now that I've gone through this cycle of addiction, and I've been on both sides of it, I understand it so much more. And I want to do everything I can to give back and help anybody going through it or thinking about trying it, because it's not worth it. Your life is so precious. And these drugs, those pills, those pain pills, oxys, man, they fucking kill people. And not even just oxys, heroin, methamphetamine, any of that shit, man, it kills you. And it ain't worth it. And I know, like, young teens, I was a teenager not that long ago. And I remember, you think you're invincible. You think nothing bad could happen to you, or nothing bad can happen to your friends. But then it does, and it wakes you the fuck up. And then you think, whoa, like, holy shit. I took her death pretty hard because I was doing the same shit. I felt guilty. Her funeral was very difficult for me. Her little girl was screaming for her when they had the slideshows up of my friend. And my friend's little girl just, oh, where's my mommy? And I just imagined me and my daughter and what that would do to her. And I just couldn't. I had to get clean. And it took me 6 months before it clicked in my head that I needed to get sober. Because after her death, I used hard. I did not want to think about it. I did not want to think about the reality of what killed her. Nothing. I blocked that shit out, and I used harder. And anybody asked me if I was clean, I would lie to their fucking face because I was a piece of shit drug addict, and that's what they do. When you're a drug addict, you feel like a piece of shit. You feel like you're dirt. But let me tell you something. You're not dirt. Right now, you're doing dirty things. When you're an addict, that's not the real you. The drugs are you. You're like a demon. You're the drug's little bitch. And that drug will do anything and everything to make you get more and more of it. It's the devil. So you gotta fight against that. I know you think that drug is your best friend, but it's your worst enemy. So you gotta get up and fight. You guys, addiction's hardcore shit, and it takes so much willpower and strength. But if I can do it, and I know that everybody says this shit, so cliche, if I could do it, you can do it. Because I was in a dark, sad, fucked up place. And I got myself out of it. I didn't get to go to rehab. I didn't have the help that some people get to have. Some people get to go to these fancy rehabs and places. I didn't get that. I was on the ground face first, and I stood up, and I was like, all right, let's do this shit. And a year later, here I am. I'm still doing it. And you know what? I'm not saying that anybody that goes to rehab's a weak person. You need those tools. But like I said, these outpatient groups like Narcotics Anonymous and Celebrate Recovery, they're God sent. Because, like I said, you get what you put into those programs. When you're seriously ready and you're dedicated and you're committed to change, you're going to gain so much skills, tools, and power out of those programs. And you're going to learn that maybe that is all you need. And you're going to meet so many good people in those groups. And it saved my life. And it can do the same for you. Another thing I want to say is, when you're getting clean, And, you know, and this was kind of applied to me, but I know this probably applies to a lot of other people more. I know that, you know, sometimes people don't want to get clean because they know that they're going to lose, like, all of their friends, because all their friends are addicts, and they don't want to lose all their friends. Well, you know what? It's better to be healthy and be alone than be sick and be surrounded by a bunch of sick people. Do what you gotta do. Fuck them. I know it might make them feel bad, or you might feel bad for them. You know what? Don't feel that way. When it comes to recovery, being selfish is one of the key things to staying sober. Don't feel bad for them. And don't try to save your friends either. Right now, you need to worry about you and saving you. And then, they need to worry about them. Don't worry about getting anybody else healthy until you get healthy, okay? And don't try to force your friends to get clean. If they're not ready, don't fuck with it. Let it go, you know? Just do you. That's all you can do. You can't save the world. I know, I tried. I tried to save one of my friends after I got sober, and she just hated me for it. But, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video, and, I just wanted to make that video and just let y'all know that if you're going through this, have strength and be strong, and don't go back to the drugs, because they're not going to do anything but ruin your life, and you're going to look back and regret your whole life if you do it. So do what you got to do, okay? And be strong, because I know it's hard. And I'm going to make another video about Suboxone, so if you want to watch that, stay tuned, and thanks for watching, and I will talk to you all soon. Thank you.